Hello and welcome to the second edition of Game Time. My name is Marco Ndlovu. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for your feedback on our first episode that we had here. That is a couple of weeks ago, where we spoke to the former national team coach Ricardo Manetti. We got to know a lot about him. We got to understand how he functions, and a lot of people have been requesting that we do a second edition of that particular interview because they felt that they know the man when they see him on the field. But when you spoke here, it was something different. This is the second edition, and this time around we have a different guest in the name of Freddy Mwiya. He's an educationalist, if there's any word like that. He's a teacher by profession, and he's also a sportsman. I don't know if it's a hobby, he will tell us. I don't know if it's a hobby for him, or is the passion, or is the love of his life. We don't know. He's going to explain that to us. Mr. Freddy Mwiya is also the chief administrator at the Namibia Sports Commission. He has been there for quite a long time. I remember the first time he was appointed to that position, I made a phone call and he was actually on the pitch, at a volleyball tournament. I still remember that day, but that's another story for another day. Mr. Mwiya, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, and welcome.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, Freddy Simata Mwiya. Who is Freddy Simata Mwiya?
No, Freddy Mwiya is a child born in the Zambezi region, coming from the eastern part of the Zambezi region in the floodplain, whereby I also grew up in the Zambezi region, and I did my school in the Zambezi region up to my grade 12. One after doing my grade 12 from the Zambezi region, and it's when I moved to Windhoek, where I had to do my higher, university qualification at UNAM. And also fortunately traveled to Cape Town. We went to the University of Johannesburg, and all in all, that's more about Freddy Mwiya. So in terms of the education background,
in terms of the sporting background, growing up, what sport did you participate in?
I may say first, I need to look at the root of my father. My father was a soccer player. He was playing, in front on the left side. That's what my father used to do. I played football while I was still at the high school. At St. Kizito College. I was playing in the 18 at the defense. But you could see that yes, football was just something that was also part and parcel of my way. But obviously, I fell in love with karate, martial arts, whereby one gentleman, Joseph Sambi, that time, it was not easy to learn karate, but we had one gentleman called Joseph Sambi. I think by that time I was around about, still at the primary school. I started doing karate in 1984. That's when I started doing my karate life. And it seems the interest in karate grew as time goes on, where I could get also, expertise from various people. And when I finished my grade 12, when I came to Windhoek, I took karate very, very seriously at the university. I must also be able to mention, I became the first black belt that was produced by the University of Namibia. Because when I came to the University of Namibia, yes, they had some students who were doing karate, but they could not go to that high level. The university gave me even a scholarship where they sent me to Cape Town for training purposes. And I remember when the country club was officially opened, my photo of karate life was displayed in the country club. So I made history during that given time, and I became also one of the first black people to represent Namibia in 1995 African Games in Zimbabwe. That was in Harare. So from there, also 1999, also African Games, and also 2003, 2007. So I competed at that level. I also became one of the world championship in karate. That was in Australia, where I represented Namibia at a high level. I may say, in the life of karate, I competed quite a lot of international championship. I remember 1996. It was I competed with one gentleman from South Africa was coming from the world championship. This guy was very good. People they thought that this guy gonna nail me down. And it was in Namibia here, and people were surprised I got the gold medal competing with somebody who came from the world championship who was called himself a world champion, and I actually managed to win that person in here. So I've been doing karate as an athlete for a number of years. What I can also mention about the art of karate is when I finished the University of Namibia, that was when I finished my first undergraduate qualification. I traveled to the north, part of the country that was in Ondangwa. I may say I am the pioneer who opened the karate life, starting from Zambezi, Kavango, Oshana, Ohangwena, the whole northern part. I had karate schools. It was not so easy that at the end of the day, karate became also a sport for most of the black community in the country. And people were surprised to see, because previously karate was only meant for people of the white community. But later on, as I went to the north, I made it a point that we need to transform the art of karate. I'm very happy that in 2011, if I recall very well, we had 27 members of the national team, and 24 of them were coming from a karate school in the north. Only 2 were from Windhoek and 1 from the coast. Imagine, that was remarkable. That was 2011, and we made history by that time. People were surprised to see how I have transformed in 6 years, that the northern part took over karate at that time.
For a man who was doing karate, what are the lessons that you learned from the sport? What lessons can you impart? What are the lessons from karate that you can impart, or use in your day-to-day life? Now you're the chief administrator at the Sports Commission. How do you link those two?
Out of karate, you learn 3 very crucial elements. I may say first is you develop that sense of humor, you will remain humble, and you will have that sense of humility in whatever you do. It's a discipline art, because when you do the sport of karate, it's not like any other sport. Because one, it needs your mind focused, you need to concentrate on whatever you do, and you also, it's like a vow that you give when you do the art of karate, that you do it for life. That's the difference of karate. When you join karate and you want to do karate, you do it for life. You don't stop. That's why with CV at this time, I still train karate. I still live karate. There's no way you can wake up in the morning without doing any movement of karate. You need to do a movement of karate. You need to do meditating before you go for work. It helps you to strengthen your attitude, that even when you face very difficult challenges in life, then you can tell yourself you are a warrior. That's what karate is all about.
Now, karate is really not a sort of a popular sport in Namibia at the moment, and you are at the Sports Commission. Obviously, you have a bit of influence. We don't see your influence in karate coming through.
I may just say, when I was appointed the chief administrator, because I was the national coach of karate, I think I went on television where I declared the interest that yes, people must be able to know I've given up in terms of coaching the national team, because I was now given the mandate to run the entire sport in the country. So for me, when you are having this position, yes, you have got your sport that you do, but you must not mix your sport that you do with the type of work that you do, because my job is to ensure that I save the entire population. Like now, because I do other sport, I don't just do karate, but karate, that's my main sport. Yes, indeed, what I do is on a private line, I still will also provide advices to the national team. As you know, all my children are all black belt in karate, so that's what we do at home. So also me owning my own club, which I also, I own the club in Commonwealth, and what I do is I follow the structure, because I cannot say because I'm the chief administrator, I don't listen to the hierarchy of, within the karate family. So what I do is I get instruction from their president, I do as it is, but when I go back to the office, I cannot have an influence on what I do as a private instructor and also what I do as an administrator of sport in the country. So, but all in all, I really support them, because I do what I could do, because I've been a coach. Sometimes they invite me for the national team training session for me to give the skills, because the skills don't need to throw them out.
Yes.
So when they normally invite me to give some coaches, coaching clinics, I join them also. I do the art, and it's encouraging. When they always see me on the floor and also compete, not compete, train, and also help them. So they normally feel that yes, indeed, I'm still part and parcel of the family of karate.
All right. Now you came to Windhoek. You have done your university life. You graduate. What were you specializing in at UNAM?
Yeah, at the University of Namibia, I was doing economics, but I was specializing in education, but I was specializing in the subject of economics.
Yeah. And then you get to start working as a teacher, I suppose?
Yes, I started working as a teacher in the northern part of the country for 3 years. Then I served as a school principal. Then from there, I moved. I became the director for the International University of Management, IUM in Ongweniva, which I did quite a lot of them. Transformation of that university, and to such time that I was offered a position now to come and serve the chief administrator. But I've done a lot in terms of sport, development across the globe.
So you are now a teacher in the north, and you go to IUM to become a director. The moment you become a director, and this position comes up of being they are looking for a chief administrator at the Namibia Sports Commission. We know that that office is a sort of a big office when it comes to sports in the country. What made you say I want to go to that office?
As I said, I come from karate. Discipline, determination. You are a warrior. I've seen the challenge that the Sport Commission experienced at given time. That position remained vacant for a number of years. When the opportunity came and prevailed, because I knew sport very well and it had been my, it's like my hobby or something that I live on, I said it's the right time for me to come and serve, because I know what I've done in the northern part of the country. I knew already my abilities, my skills. I said this is the right time to come and bring a change. And when I came in 2017, I said I am going to bring a change to the sport industry, which I believe I've done, and I'm very much happy about it.
We will get to that one.
Yes.
For why I'm asking this question is, like I said, that office is a hot office, it's a hot plate. It went for quite some number of years without the position, and the previous chief administrators before you, none of them really went there with what we can call a clean record. There were court cases, there were infights, and so on and so forth. We're not scared that, if I go there, I'll soil my name.
I must tell you, I looked at it, I followed what was happening. I said, when you're in the sport industry, yes, that's what you must expect. I said, when you are a man and you are a warrior, you take whatever comes because you know your abilities. I said, let me go there, let me make a difference. Yes, there will be, in every situation where you find yourself, I must be honest with you, as long as there are people, the fight will still be there. Unless you are looking after cattle. When you're looking after cattle, you just open the kraal, they know it's open, you put them in, they will never even do anything, they know that they have to go in there. But when you work with human beings, you need to know that, yes, there will be different, in understanding, because some people have got different viewpoint and you have got a different viewpoint, but at the end of the day is as long as you are focused and you want to deliver beyond expectation and you've got to set yourself the goal, this is what I'm going to do, no matter what comes. Yes, you have some, external pressure from outside, but you just need to remain focused and say, I am here to serve, and you do it out of passion.
Now you get the job, 2017, you start working there. We're in 2023 right now. What would you say are the changes that you have brought in at the Sports Commission?
Very, very visible, I can assure you. I always enjoy these days people to ask me a question. This organization, was it formed in 2017? That's what people are asking me. They said, we did not know that there was a Sport Commission. And I must be honest with you, the Sport Commission was like a directorate within the ministry. It was like a small department. I remember in 2017, when just within 3 months, when I had a discussion by saying, we are a state-owned enterprise, people did not believe it. I remember I got on record only on the 17th of August. And we did some interrogations, and I told them we are a state-owned enterprise. Even the way we have to operate, we must operate as a state-owned enterprise. You could see it already. What did we do? We started now aligning ourselves in terms of compliance with what a state-owned enterprise have to do. We changed all the policies, and we changed even the business of operation. I informed also the office of the ministry by saying we are a separate entity. We are not a directorate. We don't report directly to your office. We report to the board. So at the end of the day, what happens? We transform that part internally, and then visibly people would be able to see the image of the Sport Commission. You would see in 2017, 2018, I took a deliberate attempt to promote the commission. I said this is the right time that we must sensitize the public to know about what is our mandate, what are we to do. We crafted a very living strategic plan in 2018, which I believe we have really achieved very well, which ended in 2022. So based on that, we brought a lot of programs. National Youth Game. There were no national youth game in the country. We brought the first national youth game in 2018. People could not believe that we can be able to do the first national youth game in 2018. There was no funding, but I said, where there's a will, there's always a way. We managed to do the national youth game. We have transformed in terms of the sport award. Sport award was just only based in Windhoek for 15 years. And I said, no ways. Namibia is not Windhoek. Namibia is the entire country. We started rotating the sport award across the country. We took it to the coast, we took it to the north. Luckily, we took it to Rodrigues, and we went back to the north, to the coast again. And we know next year we will be coming back in Windhoek. We did those a lot of changes. We introduced with the...
We must go to Katima. Why are we not going to Katima, Rundu?
I can tell you, 2025, we are looking about Kavango. Kavango was supposed to be this year, but we said, we're looking about the financial aspect. It was supposed to be Kavango this year. But I know for sure we'll still discuss about that with the board, because next year we'll be back here. But Kavango was also part and parcel of the program. Kavango was Zambezi. But I know Katima might be a very far distance. But if you talk about Kavango in Rundu, it's much easier for that. So we also introduced the Namibia Sport Expo with the Honorable Tony. You could see, so that at least now it has become a brand that we can be able to market sport activities in the country. All in all, I think our stakeholder relation have changed, because when I came, the Sport Commission for me was the Sport Commission for football. It was mostly, just focusing on football. Mm-hmm. Even the federation, many of them, currently now they always tell us, we did not know that there was this commission. I said, we are here to save all the sports. That's the purpose of the Sports Commission. So also, and when it comes to international relations with our sister countries, I can assure you, when I go for meetings, even this weekend, I know I'll be traveling for a meeting in Malawi. The moment they see Namibia, we are the pillar, the example within the SADC region currently now. Mm-hmm. That's why even last month when we were doing the strategic plan in Zambia, I have to take over for 2 days to run the strategic plan of the region, because they know already that coming from Namibia, these guys, they are doing the real business. Mm-hmm. So for me, I say we have done a great job, because not only here, we are being recognized in the SADC as the best region in terms of program implementation. I know Zambia is doing well in podium performance. Mm-hmm. They are winning us on that line. Mm-hmm. But across in terms of how we do our business, they always use Namibia as an example, which I can also cite. Look at the reward policy. Mm-hmm. We are the living model inside Africa. Reward policy. I'm using our policy currently now, because everybody, when I was presenting about how we reward our athletes, we started sharing it, and many countries now they have adopted that they also need to reward their athletes.
Mm-hmm. All right, you've mentioned quite a number of things in terms of what you have achieved or we have brought on at the Sports Commission. Before I forget, the reward policy. When you speak to athletes, they love the idea of the reward policy, but they feel they are not appreciated, because usually their monies come late. The federations, they've come out and said yes, the Sports Commission helps us when we travel. You can easily communicate with the embassy, but they are not giving us money. So the issue of funding for the Sports Commission, it's high up there. You didn't mention it in your achievements. What have you put in place? What structures have you put in place to improve the funding at the Sports Commission?
No, I think if you look about teams, when people talk about funding, I'll just cite what happened currently now, because funding is our line ministry. They fund us money, and we fund our federation. Mm-hmm. Like rugby now, they went to the World Cup. Mm-hmm. I think we need to be honest, they were given 16 million for the World Cup. That's money from state. Mm-hmm. So that's funding. Team going to Olympic Games, we fund the team going to Olympic Games. All the teams going to African Games, they are all funded by the state. All teams going to, to Region 5 Youth Games, they are all funded by the state. So yes, the state or through the Sports Commission, we fund multidisciplinary sports events. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are these small events whereby it's darts, having African Championship for darts. Mm-hmm. What we normally do, we are only funding them through transport provision, and also we fund those individual games based on merit. Because if you look at the economy of Namibia, it's very, very difficult to fund every individual event that the athlete has to compete at. But we have to prioritize that. We look at the major international games. Like look now, as we will be going to African Games next year from 8th to the 25th of March. So funding to the African Games team to the value of 11 million. So that's funding. We talk about the Brave Warriors now, which will be going for the AFCON. They've already approached the Light Ministry. Also now they're submitting a budget to my office. And what is happening? They'll be funded. I remember 2019 or 2018 when we went to African Games. We had rugby, we had hockey, we had football. It was 2019, if I'm not mistaken, in Egypt. Yes. What happened? 42 million that we managed to get from contingents fund to fund the rugby, going to the World Cup. Football got 18 million. Hockey, we gave it around about 5 million. So that was a lot of money that was also given to Sport Federation. So all in all, I can assure you, I may say, as much as we could give what was required, but we've done our level best with a limited budget, because our budget went down. Mm-hmm. They used to get 38 million in the Sport Commission. There was a year, but it came to 5 million. That was not easy in 2018. Imagine, from 38 24, 21, going down up to 5 million. And we've got already expenses that we need to incur. So it was not so easy. So I think we've done what is possible within our means.
But now, without relying on the government, what other measures have you put in place to say we want to improve our funding?
Yeah. No, what we've done, I think that's a very, very good point. We have actually, as we speak now, I think it's today, it is going out the advert for us to have a business consultant, which we did the first round, but we could not get the right company. But now we are sending that advert, which will be actually released preferably, but it will be in the paper by tomorrow, whereby we want to actually, because one of our pillars in our strategic plan is about how we have to sustain ourselves, because we don't want to remain, just to rely on funding from the state. So with this business consultant that we are opening, we want to mobilize the resources that we can be able to fund most of our operations within ourselves. Even if ever, for argument's sake, 2 years from now, maybe there's no money coming from fiscals, we must be able to say the sport commission can still remain relevant, can still be able to perform its function. Because the current system of relying from fiscals, every time we are, grabbing and waiting for the Minister of Finance to announce, then that's when you want to work. I said that cannot work. That's why currently you find ourselves, some of the program we cannot do them. The challenge is we need to move away from reliance from government. Yes, we are very happy. Most of the project, corporate Namibia, I can tell you, I think we are very strong in stakeholders engagement. There, I give myself 99%. Most of the projects, look at the National Sport Expo, it's corporate. Look at the Sport Award. For 3 years, there were 3 years that we did not get any funding from the state to run the Sport Award. I just got it from corporate. I know it's only this year that I got a 1 million to run the Sport Award. And also last year I got a 538. But the Sport Award now I got 4 million. So you can see now, 2 point something I'm just getting from corporate. I think that relationship that we have with corporate, for me, it's something that we need to cement and carry on. I think we have got a strength in terms of stakeholders relationship.
Yeah, in terms of the sports infrastructure, it's a hot topic in the country, not only in football, but any other sports in the country. How many sports facilities has government built since independence?
Thank you. That's a very, very good question. I know it was coming, that question. First, before I even attempt to answer that question, I just want to put very, very well, the Sport Commission mandate is to influence, to advise the state or the ministry on the needs of sport infrastructure. Mm-hmm. The ministry, their responsibility is policies and to ensure that they provide the request that we've requested. So that's their business. However, I also come in there. When we talk about sport infrastructure, I'll need to distinguish between the two. Let's talk about stadium and sport infrastructure. Mm-hmm. We have got other sport infrastructure in the country, but we don't have stadiums.
No, that's why I said,
yes.
What sports infrastructure has the government built?
Yes, okay. That's a very good aspect. For me, when I look about government is to provide conducive environment for business people also to come on board. Because government is the people. Yes, per se, we say, what did the government do? Which stadium did the government construct? Yes, we know those small stadiums that they've constructed out of the city. However, I may be honest by saying, when we got the dome, it's a sport infrastructure. Mm-hmm. It is the government that created the conducive environment for the dome to be given that land to create a sport infrastructure in that area. Yes, the government did not build the stadium per se, as we need the infinite stadium, that they need to do the renovation. I think it's something that obviously they have to respond on. However, I have to mention by saying we might have few of them, but indeed there's a need for us to ensure that we build, because other countries are doing so.
I understand you. I hear you, but maybe I don't understand you. What is the policy saying, the sports policy saying, in terms of allowing business people to come and construct infrastructure, sports infrastructure in this case, and what are the value, what do they get? Yes, what are the incentives that they get from constructing this infrastructure? You made a good example of the dome. It's a private property, but when government goes to use it there, when government teams go to use it there, the dome, they then have to pay something. I'm talking about a government infrastructure, like when I want a bus from the Sports Commission and I'm taking the national hockey team from here to the airport, the only thing I probably need is to pay fuel and the driver. I stand to be corrected there.
Yeah.
I would like to find a sports infrastructure like that I need to pay for the electricity and maybe for the water.
If I look about in the regions, the Zambezi stadium in Katima, very small stadium for the people, that was the government. The one in Kavango, that's government. The one in Ushakati, that's government. And the one in Mariental, that's government.
They were built after independence?
Yeah, they were built after, yeah. Those are government, even though they're very, very small by nature. The one in the Rudres, that's also for the government. I feel, yes, we need to say there's a need for us to have an international accredited stadium that is belong to the state. That must be there. That one I also accept it, yes. I think that has been a challenge.
A multidisciplinary stadium?
Even a multidisciplinary stadium that, that can cater even for a number of sports, because currently you look at the Independence Stadium, that's something that we've inherited, yes. But I say there's a need in that line. However, that's why I was trying to emphasize, we are so fortunate that corporate also, they've constructed some facilities. Because, what will happen now, the dome, they've got a facility for indoor. And we at government, we also go and build in Swakopmund. What are we doing? We're trying to kill that business. It's not so. So it's good for us to do what? To support that business. That's why we would see now the Sport Commission and the dome, we've got an MOU agreement, which we've signed that we have to utilize that facility. Same apply to Ondangwa now. Ondangwa, they're doing the stadium, and they're working in my office. And what are we doing now? I can tell you, we are supporting the town council for Ondangwa. I know tomorrow I got business meeting, and they will be also coming here from Ondangwa. So we got business meeting with very big corporates, and I believe in a matter of by next year or so, we'll be announcing what are we doing to bring that stadium to that level, that because they need resources. We might raise a 10 million for them. I remember there was a time I and the Ondangwa Town Council were engaging with the Korean government, because they wanted also to help, support, financially, which we are still working out, because they need a lot of money to construct that stadium. But we said, if you do that stadium, that's what we are going to use for the northern part of the country. And for us as the commission, what we do, having a town council, being part and parcel of government, doing something within their locality, we must come on board and support them.
Yeah, moving away from the infrastructure, and then your relationship with the ministry, the Sports Commission, you get money from them. How is that relationship?
Yeah, that's
when you submit your budget, do they give you what you want, or they?
Yeah, obviously, the ministry is our parent, and we are an SOE, and we are 3 children in the ministry: the National Youth Council, the National Youth Service, and the Sport Commission. And they've got also a ceiling that's already allocated to them with the Ministry of Finance. So we cannot blame ourselves, because at the ministry and us, we work in collaboration. When we do budget presentation, the executive director invites the CEO from the Sport Commission, invites the CEO from the National Youth Service and also the National Youth Council, and also the financial advisor and the director of sport and the director of youth and the general service. We always go as a team to motivate our budget. So whatever we get by the end of the day, we cannot point finger who have failed. Then we can just say we have achieved as a team. If we have failed, we say we have failed as a team. Let's go back on the drawing board and see what mechanism we have to do. So that's how we normally do. We don't normally get what we need, I can assure you. I know we normally request, even this year, for next year, I know in the budget I put the 68 million. That's what I needed to ensure that by next year we can be able to support most of our affiliates with whatever is required. But I know for sure it might come to 20 million or 80 million. So it's an economic situation, but we normally really put a very strong motivation on why we need this specific amount of money.
Coming to your relationship now with the minister herself, there was a point in time where there were court cases, and how has that been resolved?
No, those issues happen in any business. Yes, you have, that's a professional line. Lucky enough, if ever people don't agree on one point, what do? You take it for legal purposes. Then the legal purposes they give give a verdict to say this is how it must be done. So it was done in that way. From there, we move on, and we are very, very happy. We work very well with my honorable minister. I can assure you, she called me every time, and for me, that is past history. It's water under the bridge. It's about for her to save. That's why I need to support her, because also she has to support my office, because we are all employees and we have to work to achieve the goal. So we are working very well with the office.
I have a couple of, when we told people we are going to have you, we requested a couple of questions. Is the commission in a better space right now as compared to when you found it?
100% in a very good position currently now. I may tell you, we came in the commission, and when we came in the commission, for me, I have to start from scratch. Yes, I need to appreciate what other colleagues have done, but to be frank enough, I think you heard from the beginning when I said we did not even know whether we were an SOE, and currently we know we are an SOE, and we operate in terms of the principle of corporate governance. So we are in a very good position with some challenges, because I need the structure to change. I can assure you that's what I need. So you cannot operate a commission with the current structure that we have.
In terms of the funding, in terms of the money, it's always an issue. Right now we're talking about the Brave Warriors going to Morocco, and they'll probably present a budget to you. Do we have that money for the Brave Warriors?
As I said, we get our money from the ministry to support our affiliates. The Brave Warrior, the NFA already approached the ministry already last week through my office, and as we speak this Friday they are submitting their budget for the games, and then we will definitely sit around the table with the ministry to see how best we can support them. But I can assure you they will be supported. There's no two about it. They will be supported. Yes, what their needs, if they will need maybe $100, it might come to $98 or $97, because that's what happens in economics. You may need $100, but we need to start scrutinizing, is it a necessity? Because we got a lot of competing priority needs also in the sport industry. So we need to ensure that the money that's available, when we put the motivation in the ministry, because we got other sports code also, they need also help at the same time.
In terms of development, what are we doing to develop athletes, to identify talent, develop it, and let it graduate to be elite athletes?
I'm very happy within the Namibian School Sports Union.
And how is your relationship with the Namibian Sports School Union?
That we got a very, very good one. I'm very happy. Solly did a good job. As much as he's no longer with us, people sometimes, they need to be given credit for what they've done. And Roger have taken that work on very well. So that's why what we do now is we said we need to focus more on grassroots development through schools. Because if ever your school setting or sports school is not very intact, I can assure you are going to run, or you'll be having drought in terms of athletes. So it's always good that we really plow a lot into schools. That's why I'm very happy with Deb Marine, with the initiative that they actually penetrated into the schools. Even though last 2 weeks ago they approached my office, they said yes, there had been some challenges, but they would like to see to the commission and the Namibia School Sports Union to see how best this program could be cemented to ensure that by the end of the day we develop children at a grassroots level. What we are also doing, I'm happy with our federation, because all federation now it's become a compliance matter that they must submit to us quarterly reports on what development program are they doing, and also in terms of inclusivity in sport, because that's one aspect that we are emphasizing, because you see that some sport code that does not have inclusivity by the end of the day, so it's not very good. So we are looking at that line. So but development is school sport and also federation, because our job is just to coordinate the activities.
So speaking about inclusivity, I think inclusivity in our context is usually used one-sided. I mean, we want to get people with previously disadvantaged to practice certain sports, but why is it that we are not, for example, I'll use netball, rugby, I'll use football as well. We have so many people from the previously advantaged communities, if I may put it that way. the white community. We have them at school level, we have them at under 15, under 16. The moment you get to under 17, under 18, you don't get them. What is the Sports Commission doing to put a net, a safety net, that these people, they don't fall off through the holes, but we promote them to the national team?
Yeah, especially in netball, I've seen you are correct in netball, especially in netball, we got our white counterparts, in schools, they're mostly there, but when they finish the job, what normally happens is, I think we need to look about the system itself. Some of them, they normally send their children to universities outside the country. I think that's why we normally lose them. The moment, they finish the job, they don't want to study in here, they normally go outside the country. I think what federation need to do, that's why we opened, there's a system that we said, if an athlete he or she goes out for study purposes, when you are doing your trials, you don't necessarily need that athlete to come down here to attend the trials. Have a mechanism in place to ensure that you can still include that athlete, whether he or she is studying outside the country, because we are losing them, especially, they have to go for schooling outside the country. So at the end of the day, we end up losing some of them, because some federations say, no, you are not here at the national trials. For me, national trials, yes, they are needed, but you cannot expect somebody who is in Europe just to come, fly all the way to come in here. As long as that person is trained the other side, when it comes for national duty function, call that person if that person is too competent enough. And some federations are doing very well, especially swimming. I'm very happy with swimming, because swimming, the living model where they give what we call a credit certificate for everybody who goes and study outside. They go through the system, we signed some document. We've started encouraging all federations to do the same. They give them a clearance that they can be able to practice the sport that they do the other side, and then they've got a connection with the national coach back at home. When they are needed, they have to do so. Like tennis also, they're doing the same. So I think that's what we need to do with most of the federations, that we cannot lose our athletes, especially when they go out of the country.
And with that said now, let's talk about the policy. Let's talk about the Sports Act. It's a hot potato. It's been coming. I think 2 or 3 ministers have come through the system and gone without the Sports Act being sort of presented to us. What is going on there?
You remember in 2016, yes, you are very, very much correct. When I joined 2017, there was a version of the Sport Act that we got on the table. And later on, again, another version came. You are correct. I think at least 4 versions of the Sport Act. Even though it's not our mandate, the Sport Act is a mandate of the ministry, but our job is to ensure that we advise the ministry. So as I speak currently now, I was told, which I know, they've actually appointed a consultant to work on that bill. So, which was 2 months ago, we wrote a letter to the ministry to update us, and they said, no, they've appointed a consultant who has to help them to start crafting that bill, that they will come back to us, to the Sport Commission, because we are the regulator, that we need to start putting our inputs before we can bring it to the entire stakeholders. So that's what I can just talk about the bill currently. Yes, it's long overdue, but at least we have got an act that we are currently using. Yes, with all small loopholes here and there, but at least the regulation that are helping us to ensure that we can still move forward.
Other small sports codes feel like they are sidelined when it comes to getting attention from the Sports Commission, because we have our elite, sports, we have the developmental sports, and then we have the others. They feel like the others are only recognized when they do something good for the country, but nothing is being put for them to go to the elite department.
I think if you listen from my opening remark when I said previously the commission was seen as a commission for football and netball, which is not the case now. I can be honestly tell you, for us, I always emphasize all sports codes, whether you are a national sports code, priority, developmental, and recreational sports code. For us, in our eyes, you are equal, and our expectation is everybody must be taken as such. Yes, in terms of funding, that's when I will admit, yes, that is true. There are the major sports codes that we put more funding into it, like look at football now. Yes, we need to put more money. Look at what happened to rugby, we have to put more money. I think based on the categorization of sports code, even the model, that's what it stipulates. If you are classified the national sports code in terms of the resources allocation, you must get this type of resources. So I think we are using that model. It's also another way to encourage the small federation also to lift themselves up, that they can be able to become priority sports codes. So where we are achieving medals, we also need to ensure that we actually capacitate in terms of finances to ensure that we give more resources that they can be able to perform at the international level. But all in all, in terms of treatment, we may say We take all our sports code as equal. But yes, resources allocation, not everybody, you will be shorter like Mwiya. There will be difference, some of people will be much shorter than Mwiya, some will be taller than Mwiya, so there's that difference in life.
Yeah. What programs are at the Sports Commission that the athletes might need to know about?
Yeah, I think you know that at the commission we have got a partnership agreement with Namibia, Student Financial Services, where we also offer, NASFAF, where we are offering financial support to our athletes, especially those who want to venture into areas of sports science, sport-related discipline. Even though we've also opened medicine, as long as it's also linked to sport. So we have given quite a number of them, and we are also going to start advertising very soon again that people can apply come next year. So that we also provide them those opportunities for study purposes. So that's what we also do at the Sport Commission. And apart from that, at the Commission also we offer a lot of internship, programs, which we really help a lot of our athletes, for them who want to venture into the sport industry. For those who are studying, then we also provide them opportunity for internship programs at the Sport Commission. So all in all, that's what we are doing currently.
Who can access the NASFAF sponsorship?
Yeah, as long as you are in sport business, as a journalist, as an administrator in sport, as an athlete, it's open to all. Yes. So because what is needed is also a motivation from the federation. And for you people, journalists, a motivation from your employer that you are actually a journalist into sport-related area, because that also, builds in terms of your CV whenever you apply, when we are considering. And I'm very happy that we have actually given close to 23 scholarships so far. So for me, which is a positive aspect that we have done at the commission, with having our very limited resources, but we use our stakeholders, to come to the party and help us.
If I had to give you an open check right now and say, here's the open check, Mr. Mwiya, run the Sports Commission for 1 year, what would be the short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans for you?
Okay, to run in 1 year. 1 year, you are talking about a short-term already.
In that 1 year, you divide it into 3.
In that 1 year, you divide into 3. Okay. In the long run, I think what I will look at in the long run is, because I'm counting from today, going to next year, July, August. I'm looking about how many people will be able to qualify for the Olympics Games already. That's a long term, because I'm looking already from June to next year, August, September. I think that's what I'm going to focus to ensure that we have got resources to ensure our team is well prepared to achieve that goal. In the short period of time, I think the aspect of mind change policies, I need to ensure that we focus much on policies, because you can only be able to achieve the end result once you've got the right instrument in place. So I think I'll focus in the short term. I will focus on transformation of the policies to ensure these policies can be able to help us to achieve the ultimate goal by the end of the day. And also sport development become a medium term. That in the medium term, we need to ensure that we've got this sport development program taking place, that we do not have the drought at the end of the tunnel.
Mr. Mwiya, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. It was a pleasure having you here on our show, and we hope that we'll have you for the second round again. I know you're a busy man, and happy sporting here to you.
Oh, it was nice. I really enjoyed this one. At least people knows me now.
Yeah, at least we know what you do. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. See you again on our next episode.